You're sitting at your desk at work. Same desk. Same chair. Same view. You've been here for 3 years and nothing has changed except the number on your paycheck, which went up exactly once. Your phone buzzes. You check it under the desk like you're in high school. It's your YouTube notification. A video you uploaded 2 weeks ago just crossed 10,000 views. You stare at that number longer than you should. You put your phone back in your pocket. Your boss walks past without looking at you. You look back at your screen. There's a spreadsheet open. You haven't touched it in 20 minutes. You start doing math in your head that has nothing to do with the spreadsheet. For the past 8 months you've been living 2 lives. Monday to Friday, 9 to 6, you're an employee. You answer emails. You sit in meetings that could have been emails. You eat lunch at your desk because leaving feels like a waste of time you could be using to edit. Then you go home and you become someone else entirely. You open your laptop. You pull up your editing software. Sometimes it's 7 p.m. when you start, and 1 a.m. when you stop. Your girlfriend or your roommate, or whoever you live with, has stopped asking what you're working on because the answer is always the same. YouTube. You started the channel because you were bored. Because you had something to say. Because you saw other people doing it and thought you could do it better. And then something weird happened. People actually watched. Not millions. Not even hundreds of thousands. But real people. Strangers from countries you've never been to. People leaving comments that said things like, "This is exactly what I needed to hear," or "I found this at the right time." That feeling is unlike anything your job has ever given you. You start tracking everything obsessively. Views. Watch time. Subscribers. RPM. Click-through rate. You learn words you never knew existed 6 months ago, and now you check them every morning before you even brush your teeth. Month 1, 340 subscribers. Felt like nothing but felt like everything. Month 3, 1,200 subscribers. Your first video crossed 5,000 views. You made $4.30 from AdSense and screenshotted it. Month 5, 4,800 subscribers. One video blew up relative to your others. 40,000 views in a week. Your phone wouldn't stop buzzing. You were in a meeting at work when it happened and you were physically unable to pay attention to a single word anyone said. Month 7, 9,400 subscribers. You crossed the monetization threshold. YouTube is now sending you real money. Not quit your job money. But real money. Enough to notice. Month 8, that's now. 11,200 subscribers. And you're sitting at your desk doing math. You've run the numbers 100 times. Your salary after tax is around $2,800 a month. That covers rent, food, your phone bill, your software subscriptions, and leaves you with maybe $200 to spare. Your YouTube income last month was $380. Plus a small brand deal that came out of nowhere. A small company reached out, offered $400 for a mention. You almost didn't reply because you thought it was spam. So last month YouTube paid you $780. You're spending 25 to 30 hours a week on YouTube while working a full-time job. You're exhausted all the time. You haven't slept more than 6 hours on a weeknight in 4 months. You canceled plans with friends 3 weekends in a row because you had to film or edit. Something is going to give. You know that. It's just a question of what. It happens on a Tuesday. Nothing dramatic. No big fight with your boss. No viral video that changes everything overnight. Just a Tuesday. You're in the break room making coffee and your coworker is complaining about the new reporting system and you're nodding and smiling, and inside your head you are somewhere else entirely. You're thinking about a video idea you had in the shower that morning. You're thinking about a thumbnail. You're thinking about an opening line. You walk back to your desk. You sit down. You open the spreadsheet. And you think, if I gave YouTube the same hours I give this job, what would happen? You don't have the answer. But you can't stop thinking about the question. That night you go home and instead of editing you just sit there and make a list. 2 columns. Stay. Go. You fill in both sides. You stare at it for a long time. Then you close the notebook and go to bed. But you don't sleep. You tell one person first. Not your parents. Not your boss. The one friend who actually watches your videos and has from the beginning. You meet for coffee. You explain the numbers. You explain the exhaustion. You explain the feeling you get when a video connects versus the feeling you get when your boss says good work in a tone that makes it clear he has no idea what you actually did. Your friend listens. Asks a few questions. Then says something you weren't expecting. What's the actual worst case scenario? You think about it. Really think about it. Worst case, you quit, it doesn't work, you run out of savings in 4 or 5 months, and you get another job. Probably a similar job to the one you have now. Maybe you lose a few months of career progression. Maybe your resume has a gap. That's the worst case. You pay for the coffee. You walk home. You think about that question the whole way. You don't quit the next day. You're not impulsive. You're actually quite boring about the whole thing. You give yourself 90 days to prepare. You build up 3 months of savings. You cut everything you don't need. No subscriptions you're not actively using. Fewer takeaways. You start cooking more, which you actually end up enjoying, but that's beside the point. You batch content. You film 8 videos in advance so you have a cushion. You schedule them out so if things get hard in the first month you're not scrambling to create, while also panicking about money. You research. What do successful YouTubers in your niche charge for brand deals? What other income streams exist? Memberships. Digital products. Consulting. You build a rough spreadsheet, not a fantasy one but a real one with conservative numbers. Break even is $2,200 a month to cover your basics. Your channel is currently making $780. The gap is $1,420. That's the number you're chasing. You also do something you weren't expecting to do. You tell your boss you're leaving before you've fully made up your mind. Not because you plan to, but because he pulls you into a performance review and starts talking about your 5-year trajectory at the company, and something in you just couldn't let him keep going. I'm actually planning to move on, you hear yourself say. He looks at you like you said it in a different language. The last day at work is nothing like you imagined. You imagined it would feel cinematic. Walking out of the building for the last time, sunlight hitting you just right, some kind of internal music playing. It's actually just a Friday. You hand in your laptop. You say goodbye to maybe 4 people, one of whom you actually like. You take your mug from the kitchen. It's a mug from a conference you attended 2 years ago. You don't even like the mug, but you take it anyway because it's yours. You walk to the car park. You sit in your car. You don't feel free. You feel terrified. And a bit hungry because you forgot to eat lunch. You drive home. You open your laptop. You upload the video you finished the night before. You write the description. You hit publish. Then you sit there in the silence of your flat and think, okay. Now what? Week 1 of being a full-time YouTuber feels like a long weekend that won't end. You wake up at 8. No alarm. You lie there for a bit feeling guilty about lying there. You get up. You make coffee. You open your laptop. There's no structure. Nobody is telling you what to do. That was supposed to be the dream, and it is, but it's also deeply unsettling. You build a schedule because you need one, or you will slowly dissolve into the couch. Film on Monday and Tuesday. Edit Wednesday and Thursday. Friday is research, planning, thumbnail work. Weekend is rest, but also not really because your brain never fully turns off anymore. The first week you get more done than you've gotten done in any week of your life. You've filmed 3 videos. You research 2 more. You redesign your channel art. You respond to every comment. You also check your bank balance 4 times a day. Old habit. New anxiety. Month 1 revenue, $1,140. AdSense up because you're posting more consistently. Another small brand deal. A viewer bought a template you threw together and listed on Gumroad almost as an experiment. Gap to break even down from $1,420 to $1,060. You're still losing ground financially, but slower than expected. Something else happens in month 1 that you didn't expect. Your videos get better. Not slightly better. Noticeably better. The hard parts are real. But so are the other parts. Month 3. Revenue is $1,890. Gap to break even is $310. You're almost there. Not there yet. But close enough that it feels inevitable rather than impossible. You still use that mug from the conference. It sits on your desk when you film. You never planned for it to become part of the background of your videos, but it's there in almost all of them now, and occasionally someone in the comments asks about it, and you never explain it. Some things you just keep for yourself. The question everyone asks, was it worth it, is the wrong question. Because worth it implies there was a clean answer waiting at the end. There wasn't. There still isn't. What there is instead is a Tuesday morning where you wake up, make coffee, open your laptop, and start working on something that is entirely yours. No spreadsheet.